Hello and welcome to 8 Bits. My name is Chloe and I am here with my co-host,
Brandon Minnick. So good to see you again, Chloe.
Good to see you too. We were dealing with tech issues up to the last second here, so apologize. My adrenaline is pumping. Also, Brandon, I just had my birthday and guess what? I got a barista machine for my birthday, so I am sipping some latte art of a blob that I made right before this meeting.
Oh, wow. You can make customized latte art?
Well, you see, as people may or may not know, Brandon and I are based in California, where the air quality is not so great right now. So we haven't been able to go outside. I, of course, have missed my daily walks and my coffee trips to support local businesses. And my boyfriend was so kind to notice this gap in my life, which was having coffee, barista coffee. And I have a lovely Bravo machine in my home now where I'm learning, it's a lot like coding. That's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to bring it up is I feel like I'm learning how to be a barista. So I have to have a growth mindset as I learn how to make latte art, which currently just kind of looks like a blob. I don't know if you've ever tried it. Have you tried to do latte art before?
So not successfully. And we did something similar around the beginning of the pandemic because, I live off of coffee and we were spending way too much at Starbucks. Like we might as well have been partial owners at Starbucks with how much we were spending on lattes every week. And so we said, you know what? Now that we're not home, we can't travel, might as well make that investment. And we don't have a big apartment. So we got kind of a smaller latte machine and it works great. I wish I remembered the name of it so I could share it with everybody listening in today. But the first thing I tried after I finally was successful in steaming the milk and all that fun stuff was to try and make pictures.
Okay.
No clue. I'm really good at making a circle in the center.
I'm very impressed with anybody who can do latte art because there used to be a place in San Francisco years ago, back in like 2012, that did the most intricate latte art I've ever seen. I'm talking like Garfield, Totoro, like pop culture icons in your coffee. And I can barely make. I lied the other day to my boyfriend. I said, "Here's Clippy." Like, I don't know what this is. But what I appreciate about this machine that we have is it actually kind of has documentation on it. So it has this touch screen.
Oh.
So I'm very new to all of this. I love to drink espresso, but I've never made espresso before. And I love lattes, but I've never made one. And this gives me the directions on the touch screen. Like, I didn't know that you're supposed to like warm up the cup with hot water so the espresso doesn't hit the cold cup. Learned this from the
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, but there's all these steps. So it's teaching me a lot about creating documentation as well. Because I'm like, oh, cool. I didn't know that I had to grind. I'm learning all about how much I'm supposed to be grinding the espresso and for how long. So it's been quite a my boyfriend said he kind of teased the present to me. He said, I got you a present. You need to kind of train and learn how to do it. And I was like, did he get me a Peloton? Like, what did he get me? And I was wrong. It was a latte espresso machine, and I couldn't be happier.
Oh, it sounds great. And it's such a quality of life improvement that I didn't recognize that I needed before we were essentially forced into it. I guess thanks to the pandemic, because of the pandemic. But we really enjoy ours. And especially now, we just moved out of San Francisco. We're up in wine country in Napa now. And we're not in a city anymore. And we still don't own a car. So it's not easy to just walk somewhere and grab a coffee. And that's okay, because we have our fancy, tiny little apartment espresso machine.
It's such an upgrade for me because I'm new-ish to coffee. Like within the last 5 years, when I met my boyfriend, I was like, ugh, coffee.
Me too.
And I'm like, look at how far we've come. Now I'm frothing almond milk, and also learned that there's a special kind. So we've been using almond milk for our coffee, for our lattes. Maybe that's why my latte art is so good. I'm going to say my latte art isn't good because I'm using almond milk. That's going to be my excuse. But there's a special barista-style almond milk that you have to get at Whole Foods. I've never even noticed that the boxes say barista almond milk on them. I'm learning all kinds. Because you got to froth it a certain way. Oh, my goodness. I'm learning so many things.
Sounds like we need to do a whole nother stream just about helping people learn to make coffee and espresso.
If there's anyone out there who's doing
Some espresso advocates.
IoT coffee stuff, I do know that Starbucks uses Azure. It like uses the cloud to
That's right. Yeah.
check its machines and maintenance and stuff. So maybe future guest idea, Brandon.
Yeah, that's how they know like when your coffee is ready. So because I always ordered the to-go orders because I would walk to Starbucks, but since I was walking, I was like, well, let me bring the dog. Like it's an easy way to get coffee and walk the dog to start my morning. Sure. And yeah, as I'm walking, I would just place my mobile order. I get a push notification saying my order is now available. And then I could just run inside real quick, pick up the coffee and head out. And yeah, that's all powered by Azure. They have little IoT sensors on all their devices at Starbucks that aggregate all that information together and just kind of happens automatically. There's not a barista saying, send push notification to Brandon.
Yeah. I mean, it actually reminds me a lot of a lot of things that I've built with Azure functions, like my turn up timer, or what a great segue, Brandon, into the project that I worked on over the weekend with a good friend of the show.
Yes.
PJ Metz, who will be coming back to the show soon.
Yes.
I had the pleasure of working with PJ on the project of my dreams. Which, if there are any other Shania Twain fans out there who know the song "Man, I Feel Like a Woman," where it goes dun, 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 let's go girls. We created a Twitter bot for you if you're a fan of this. So there was a tweet recently where a woman said, I wish that or like I bet Shania Twain should wake up every morning and tweet "Let's go girls," and we built that for you using the power of Logic Apps and Azure, and we will be coming out with a blog post about it soon, but you can follow it in the meantime at bot_Shania. And what a treat it was to not only work with PJ to make his first Logic app, but we're doing a whole blog series around our Shania Twitter bot, and it's so much fun.
Love it. How do you spell Shania?
Shania, Shania. Ding.
Ania.
Yes. And it was such a treat. We're basically building, yes, perfect. We're building a bot in several different ways. So this is the most easy, basic way, zero code with Logic Apps. And then we're adding different layers. So no spoilers. We always give a little teaser on this show. Of Shania, bot_Shania, but the next feature is going to feature a little something called "That Don't Impress Me Much," and so stay tuned for V2 of Shania bot at bot.
It'll be amazing. And
the best part was if you look at the oh my gosh, at the cover photo of the account, when you sign up for a Twitter account, it goes, "You just made your Twitter account. Let's go!" And PJ made a little comma girls after it. It's all empty.
Love it. Yeah, and for anybody listening who hasn't had a chance to play around with Azure Logic Apps, they are just really impressive because I don't know about you, Chloe, but when I first heard about them as a developer, I heard about you can create these serverless apps and you don't have to write any code. And I was like, okay, that's cool, but I don't need it because I already know how to write code. Right. I can just whip this up on my own. Get out of my way, Azure Logic Apps. And it wasn't until the first time I used it, and I was like, oh, wow, that was really easy. Like,
yeah, right?
Because I did something similar. I have it. I didn't create a Twitter bot, but I have it monitor Twitter for tweets about my Get Trends app. Sure. And so once a day, Logic Apps is pulling all the Get Trends tweets and then sending them to me in an email, which is really cool. I even tied in some Azure Cognitive Services to tell me the text sentiment. So is it a happy tweet or is it a sad tweet? So before I click on it, I'm mentally prepared. And that literally took 5 minutes. Now, I was sold. I was sold for Logic Apps after that. I was like, okay, I could code this myself, but
the way that I described it to PJ, because I was like, look, you're learning how to code right now. This isn't best practice, but think about developers who are getting paid a bunch of money to work on really big, complicated problems. Now, Twitter bots and Twitter apps already exist. Like, let's say you have a marketing person who walks up and is like, hey, I would like to know anytime that someone tweets our account, can you build this for me? if you build it from scratch, it's going to take a while. You've got to host it. You got to, like, this is literally drag and drop. I know this sounds like an ad, but the reason I wanted to show this to PJ is when Jay, if you check out my YouTube, there's a video of Jay and I playing with Logic Apps, and we followed a hashtag, and we were able to just make a Slack bot that like told us anytime that the hashtag was used. But what I really, really love about it is you don't have to spend any time like working on, like, don't reinvent the wheel. Like, you have 5 minutes, go drag and drop it. It reminds me a lot of, what is it called? The microbit Scratch? Is that what it is that they do for like children's programming, where it's like loop this and drag it here? I was showing PJ. I'll drop it into
yeah, those basically writing code without writing code. So using it like building blocks.
Totally.
Or Lego pieces. That's probably a good way to put it.
So easy to build. And you don't have to like reinvent the wheel. Because that was our whole thing, is like, okay, obviously we need to, like, there's a whole bunch of logging into the Twitter account that we need to use, and it took literally 5 minutes. So what a dream.
Yeah. And I hear we have a guest who knows all about Logic Apps and all about writing code today.
Oh, yes. I am so, so excited. Brandon, how about you do the intro?
Oh, I'd love to. So today on the show, we have a good friend of mine. His name is Alex Blount. And he and I met back when we both worked at Xamarin. He's one of the smartest guys I know when it comes to creating mobile apps, creating apps in the cloud. And he's also still working at Microsoft with us. And he is leading a team that essentially, they're like a team of ninjas that parachute into or to join customers who might be wanting to create services in Azure and need a little bit of help. So he runs our mobile customer advisory team to help our Microsoft customers get up and running on Azure. So without further ado, let's introduce Alex Blount.
Woo! Ooh, with the mood lighting, we love.
That was an intro and a half.
We're all rocking the Microsoft swag today, I noticed. We have 3 full-time employees on the call, so I guess that makes sense.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you for coming. We're so, so excited to have you here. Where are you coming to us from today?
So I'm based in the smoky city of Bellevue right now.
This was the first day I was able to go outside. It was very exciting. I went for a walk and I breathed the air with my COVID mask, not my smoke mask today. Very exciting.
Wow. Yeah, I'm yet to do that. I have to go back to the coffee thing. I know you've already had that, but you can, if you want to get something really, really cool, you can buy a coffee printer. So you can actually print your art on top of your coffee. So you should get that.
You know what, Alex? There is a coffee printer at the Microsoft Reactor in San Francisco. Yep. And it was sitting unused for a while, and I hooked it up to the Wi-Fi. What a dream. I put little like desert, like Joshua Tree images on it. It was beautiful.
Yes. I'm saving up.
Yeah. A worthy investment.
Definitely.
Of course.
When I was in Thailand, my boyfriend and I went to a really large mall. We were speaking at DroidCon Thailand, which was in a mall, and they had a station where if you gave them a photo, you just sent it to an email address and uploaded it somewhere, they would print you as a pancake. And it was the best money that we spent in Thailand. My boyfriend has a very epic beard, which we got to eat, which was a little weird, but luckily we chose an image with a cowboy hat, so there was extra food to bite off.
I love it.
Sounds amazing.
I'd want to save it and get it framed, though. I don't know how long it'd last.
A good housewarming gift for you, Brandon. We'll consider it.
Just a little pancake on the wall right here. Finally give you some decorations in this room.
Well, fun. And the two of you used to work at Xamarin together. Is that correct? Or you met through your Xamarin days?
We did. Right. It feels like a long time ago now.
It does. It feels like a lifetime. But that's how I always joke, is that I snuck in the back door at Microsoft, because every time I applied for jobs at Microsoft, I got rejected. But if you just work at a company that Microsoft acquires,
sure,
you can start wearing the hats and stuff.
Exactly. We only did it for the swag, apparently.
You know what? I get it. I totally understand it. I feel like swag was a huge draw into this industry for me as well, because in theater, it was so rare that we got like t-shirts and stuff unless you did like a children's theater show or something. So I did a show once. One of the last shows that I did was to get a jacket that didn't even have my name on it, just said the name of the theater company on it. And be careful what you wish for, because now that I work in tech, I think I just threw away 2 bags worth of branded jackets and tote bags. So I think we need to just pivot maybe where our priorities lie in swag for a little bit.
I honestly, I still covet the first Xamarin t-shirt that I got, which was like kind of like a cool C# t-shirt with the Xamarin logo on the arm. I still have that. It's like 5 years old. I won't wear it anymore because I don't want it to wear out. It's going to be with me until my dying day.
Ooh, I have a question.
As is my Xamarin monkey.
It's not a show question. This is maybe a new one that we need to add, Brandon. But what's the best piece of swag that you've ever gotten?
Ooh,
as we're reminiscing on like old times of conferences, right? Or maybe one that's been sent to you during quarantine.
For me, I would still say it's the bag that we got from Xamarin Evolve, because it literally.
Oh, that backpack!
I have it. Yeah, I have it down here next to me. It literally looks as brand new as it did the day that I wore it. And I've taken that to so many customer visits through so many thousand miles of flying around everywhere around the world. And it still looks amazing. And it still kind of holds up. It's amazing. So I think that's my favorite one.
I'm kicking myself because I gave mine away. And it's a beautiful backpack, like tremendously high quality. But I had just purchased a new bag. And so there it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I just purchased a new bag. So when I got the swag at the Xamarin Evolve conference, I was like, oh, this is really nice, but I don't have a use for it anymore. So I gave it to one of my friends who live in Florida since the conference was in Orlando. And yeah, she still uses it all the time. And I still will see people, not as much as I used to, but walking around the city in San Francisco, seeing that backpack, and it's just like, oh, I should have kept it.
See, I have a one regret. Mine's not a backpack. Mine's a scrunchie. I mean, my hair is not long enough for a scrunchie right now, but one of the most coveted items among women in tech is the Twilio scrunchie. And there's a Signal scrunchie as well, which is their conference, which is coming up soon. Right. But there were even men who were coveting this scrunchy man buns. Also during quarantine, super popular to have longer hair. Brandon, you could use.
I'm getting pretty close. I was just joking with my wife the other day because I pulled back my hair. I was like, "Do you think it's time? Do I do this? Do I become a man bun guy? I don't know."
Can we do the rest of the show without the hat then? Is that?
I'll show you the current status.
Dun, 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 dun. Wow. Okay.
That is amazing. You need to put a bun in that. It would look amazing.
Brandon,
this is what no haircut in 6 months does to you.
Community theater production of Hamilton right now. This is so impressive.
I'd stopped knowing what to do with it. Like I've never had hair this long. And so that's why I just started wearing the hat all the time.
Tell your wife to braid it. I braided my boyfriend's hair and it was an experience that I'll treasure forever. Something I never thought I would do. A reveal party of the hair.
No explosions though.
No, none. Just I can't wait. Maybe we'll get to a point finally in California where all the hair places open up and we'll just cut everyone's hair. It'll be a big celebration of just all the literal and mental. It'll be great.
Love it.
All right. Should we get into the actual questions? I do like that swag question, though. I think we need to keep it.
I think it's a good one.
All right. Well, for those of you who are tuning in for the first time today, either on Twitch or on Learn TV, the format of the show doesn't change too much, but we have the same questions that we ask our guests, the same 7 questions with an 8th bonus question that is special just for the guest that we think up based on the answers to their questions. So that surprise is coming soon, but let's start out with our very, very first question here, which is, what is your earliest memory of tech?
Oh, wow. So so for me, I think it was back when I was I'm trying to think how old I was now, probably like 6 or 7. And my parents got me a Commodore VIC-20 for Christmas. And I just remember kind of opening that box up and seeing that beautiful beigey brown plastic and the brown keys, and just absolutely loving that thing. It came with like this thick ring binder, which was kind of all the instructions, and you got a bunch of like code that you could put in and copy out to make like a cool like little game and stuff. And I remember sitting there for like weeks and weeks and weeks, copying every character out and getting bunches of it wrong, and going back and redoing it. But I think that was probably the first thing that really sparked off my interest in tech. And I really wish I still had it.
I feel a lot of FOMO with this answer. I feel like a lot of people have given an answer similar to this, and I have not gotten my hands on one of these little babies.
Oh, you need to get one. You can buy these ones that are based on like Raspberry Pis, and they're kind of like in these cute little cases that look like the old like Commodore 64s and Commodore VIC-20s.
But there's something about having that like real one, right?
I know.
The sounds and the smells.
Exactly. There's a guy on YouTube that I watch, and all he does is buys like old ones from eBay and cleans them and makes them look like they looked like when they were original. And it's just it's very kind of calming watching people do that, and it's awesome to see the outcome as well.
I recently remembered my dad had a printer, like one of the printers with the, the white tabs on the side that you had to peel off. And just the sounds of that were so vivid and memorable, like, and the smells of everything, like, why didn't I keep all of it? Why?
I still remember like my cousin had a Spectrum, so it's kind of like there was some rivalry there because I was like a Commodore guy and he was a Spectrum guy, so there was definitely that rivalry. But when we'd play games, you'd like load them from audio cassette tapes, and I always remember the sounds that it would play when it was loading the games, and you could always tell if it was going to stop working, if it wasn't going to load properly because of the sounds that it was going to make. It was just so cool. You don't get that anymore. It's the same as when your modem was connecting to the internet. You could tell whether or not it was actually going to connect and handshake or not based on the net noises it was making.
Isn't that funny? Like, I feel like as a kid, there were so many, even just in games that I would play, ways that I would know that my save was going to fail, and like workarounds that I had to do. Like, a blessing.
Everything happens too quickly now.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. And our second question here is, what is the last piece of tech or hardware that you bought?
This is where I'm going to feel bad about myself because I literally buy everything, and with all intention of wanting to use it for a long time. But then something else comes out, and I return the other thing that I just bought, and then buy the next thing. So I think I think I've had like 3 different iPad Pros this year.
Oh wow!
Because I want to try them all, and I definitely buy them with the intention of keeping them. But then something else will catch my eye. I'm definitely like a magpie, and when I see something else that's shiny, I'm like, no, I want that one. So yes, I definitely. I think that. So the last thing that I bought was a Samsung Galaxy Note 20, because I wanted to leave my current iOS roots and jump over to Android. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to go all in on this. And then I'm back on Android again like 3 weeks later. On iOS 3 weeks later. So
you're talking to an Android girl. I'm an Android. We're an Android house here.
Yeah, I keep trying. I'm kind of like a grass is greener on the opposite side type of thing. So whenever I'm on one side, I see all the great things from the other side, and I'm like, I want that.
Yeah.
And I'm not the sort of person that can carry both. I know some people like they'll have 2 phones, one in each pocket, and I can't do that. I have to go all in. So.
Oh, I would get so confused by the UI. Like, I don't think I could do that. I'd have to be left-handed iPhone, right? Android or something like that.
So It is, I love. That's, I guess that's the thing. There are so many great things on each platform, and there's not like one thing that encompasses all of those things. So maybe that's something that that we're doing great with the Surface Duo. It's like something that's going to encompass both things. So I don't know.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's taken us 25 minutes to talk about the Surface Duo on the show. Have either of you had your hands on it yet? I've seen a bunch of people playing with it.
I mean, I've played one for a very brief amount of time, but no, I would definitely love to get my hands on one of those. If anyone out there from the Surface team wants to send 3 our way, that would be awesome.
It's been really fun following people who've been using it. I think my favorite, I'm very loosely quoting, hack was, as people may have seen on Twitter, it was the 10-year anniversary of Kelly Rowland texting Nelly in an Excel document, where are you, where are you at? And someone did that with their Surface Duo, where they put the Excel spreadsheet and the keyboard on the bottom, and it was a beautiful moment in pop culture.
That's amazing.
We've come full circle.
Yes, truly. Well, I imagine since y'all work on Xamarin, having, being comfortable in both of those ecosystems is pretty important.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we always have to kind of think cross-platform. So all of the amazing people that I work with, my team are kind of really they really know the ins and outs of all platforms. And I mean, it's interesting as well. Even though we're Xamarin, you still have to know kind of Windows and all the different APIs and quirks for that, and then also Mac OS. And so it's a lot to it's a kind of a lot to take in, just to know the kind of the specific UX of each of those platforms. Never mind even getting around into kind of the different APIs that are available for each of them. So it's a lot to, when you're building an app that targets all of those different platforms, it's a lot to kind of get a handle on, and that's something that I think is we try and help our customers to do, is like really understand what the implications of good UX is across when you're building a cross-platform app.
Did you ever think, like, well, I guess we're all pretty young, but like years and years ago, it would be possible to work on iPhone and Android things at Microsoft? It seems like we've gone so far since the good old day. People still are like, oh, you have a Mac? You code on a Mac? It's so interesting that we have such a wide ecosystem of products and hardware and things that we work on here.
Yeah. First off, thank you for calling me young. Appreciate that. And we, for my team, we try and make sure that everybody has a really broad understanding of those. So everyone has a Mac, they have a Windows machine as well, and we kind of swap over which one they focus on, so we know kind of where the kind of the things are in the platform and how our products work on both of those platforms from a developer experience. So it's amazing, really. And we've got Linux as well. You've got Linux inside of Windows. It's really a crazy time to be alive.
Yeah.
And actually, Alex, speaking of your team, I know I teased it a bit in the intro, but for the folks watching at home that are curious, what does we'll say the MCAT team do or stand for, and how can somebody get started or reaching out to maybe get the ball rolling with that process?
Yeah, definitely. So as you say, kind of like we're called the Mobcat, so which is the mobile customer advisory team. We're actually a team inside of the developer division, and more specifically inside of the customer engagement team inside of developer division. And we're really here to work with our customers alongside them to ensure that they're successful with the projects that they're working on, but also to really get a deep understanding of how our products are working and how the customers are being successful with them, but also kind of the rough edges that they're bumping into, and the things that we can pass on to our product teams, and hopefully make that better and improve for all of the customers that are using the product. So we kind of do things ranging from engagements that are a couple of weeks, which could be, hey, we've got this specific problem that we're trying to get around, or it may be that we've got this entire We've got this entire project that we're starting, and we'd love help from kind of an advisory perspective, getting good architecture, and all the way through from best practices of using Xamarin and Xamarin Forms, all the way out to how do we deploy this and do CI, and then using Azure to build out a great and performant backend as well. So we get to work with some really, really interesting customers, and some of those you can see on the customer showcase page that hopefully Brandon will be able to drop a link into. Thank you very much. It's pretty amazing how many customers are being successful with Xamarin. It's amazing. We have absolutely tons of them.
Xamarin, bringing people together. It brought Brandon and I. Our first time that we met was a Xamarin Century collab. So Xamarin.
That's right. Before Chloe even worked at Microsoft, we were collabing on Xamarin stuff.
Xamarin makes the world better. It really does.
Well, I think I know the answer to this question, Alex, but what technology do you love? I think we got a sample of this from the previous answer.
I love my iPhone. I really do. It's literally everything to me. Everything that I do is in there. It's great that you can use like Microsoft Teams on your iPhone. I can like converse with my teammates. It's literally like everything from my personal life to my work life, and I do everything there. If I want to kind of take a break, but I want to sit in the beautiful clean air that we don't have at the moment, then I can go outside. I can take a meeting on my phone. So yes, it would definitely have to be my iPhone. I couldn't give it up.
What app would you say you use the most?
Okay, so I would say there's different things. So like the one that I probably use the most is Teams, because that's kind of like Teams and Outlook. And then from a personal, I would say it's probably Messenger or Facebook Messenger, because my family, I don't know whether you can tell, I'm not natively from America. I'm from England. The accent may have given it away. But we put all of our pictures on Facebook, and so my family can kind of see everything, and that's how they interact with us. And we have kind of regular calls and whatnot on the weekend. So yeah, that's probably it's not a very exciting answer, but that's probably the next app that I use the most.
Yeah, it's a family man.
Yes,
I was trying.
It's all about the kid pictures.
Like, imagine when we didn't have like the quality of cameras that we have on our phones now. I mean, that wasn't that long ago, but I think back to like even just looking at some of my older photos on Facebook, I'm like, wow, these are grainy. And now I think about, I was walking down the street a couple weeks ago and I saw a car in the lake, and I have this beautiful portrait mode photo of a car in the lake. Could have never had that back in the day.
Wait.
Yeah, context.
What was the car doing in the lake?
Great question, Samson. So, an app that I use almost every day is called Citizen, and it is a crime alert app that alerts me. It's only in certain cities, I think New York, LA, maybe Bay Area. And I woke up early, like 6 a.m., and it said, a car is in the lake. And typically the alerts I'm getting on here are there was a burglary or a robbery, or, there's a cat stuck in a tree, but there was a car in the lake, and I could not believe that I read. I woke up immediately. I walked to the lake, and there was in fact a car in the lake, which I knew because this app shows you a video. So I had confirmed before I walked all the way over there. But yeah, there's all sorts of crazy things happening in my life. And but yeah, I actually use that crime alerting app to alert me of COVID cases, to alert me of different things in my area, to know if it's safe to go outside. So that'd probably be the app. What app do you use a lot, Brandon?
Well, first, I just want to give a shout out to the comments. The correct answer was car wash. That's what the car was doing in the lake.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I think the app I use the most, if we're just talking about pure minutes or really hours, probably days, is there's a podcast app called Overcast. I think it's only on the iPhone, but I love podcasts, and it's basically what I do anytime we'll say my brain is free, but my body's engaged. So like if I'm walking the dog, I'm holding stuff in both hands, or maybe I'm cleaning the house, and it's not really things I have to think about. Yeah. So I like to listen to a podcast and maybe learn something new, stay up to date on the latest tech stuff. And this app Overcast is amazing because it has two features. One called, Smart Sound, which will amplify voices. So sometimes podcasts, the audio is not great, and it'll automatically run that equalizer. And then it's got Smart Speed, where it'll actually remove empty spaces between words. So the benefit there is you can listen to the podcast more quickly, and which is great for me because I have a huge backlog of podcasts I'm trying to get through. But by just removing those pauses, it doesn't speed up the noise or speed up the sound.
For doesn't
right.
have time
Not on
for
Overcast.
Drama.
Because normally when you just say, I want to listen to this at 2x speed, then the sound pitches up and it sounds like everybody's talking like a chipmunk because everybody's talking really, really, really fast. But with the Smart Speed, it'll just remove these pauses and it works really well. And so I've been using that for years now. And by far, I've easily spent days listening to that app, listening to podcasts in that app.
I hope they hire some Android developers because that sounds cool and I want to try it.
Highly recommended. Overcast.fm.
Yes.
Very cool.
I forgot about that. That would have been one of my favorites as well. I forgot about that. So good call.
That may have to be another question. We're coming up with all these new questions today. I may have to be
favorite podcast.
Oh yeah. I listen to a lot of podcasts too. I'm actually a little upset that I don't have Overcast because now that I think of it, I'm like, yeah, there are a lot of kind of sipping pauses. I feel like a lot of people like drink while they're doing podcasts. They'll take a break or something. So all the time I could be saving.
Seconds of your life. Get it back.
Exactly. Well, what technology do you hate, Alex?
Oh, wow. What technology do I hate? That's a really hard one. Oh, wow. I honestly, I don't hate any technology. I think that's the root of it. I think even the scariest of kind of latest technologies, like kind of like talks of kind of facial recognition being everywhere, I really kind of embrace all of those types of technologies. I think I'm kind of ready for Elon Musk's microchip to be inserted into my brain, and I'll kind of give that a go. So I don't hate anything. I think everything is a step forward for the most part, and I think it has its positives. So yeah, I'm not going to be a hater today.
Good answer.
So I think I found an alternative to getting a microchip implanted into my hand to tag into my building, which is if you aren't following Sailor HG on Twitter, she's wonderful, amazing. She's also on Instagram. She does a lot of really cool zines and design. She's learning 3D animation right now, but she melted down her clipper card for the Bay Area rapid transit system here, and was able to get the chip out and put it into this beautiful resin and made a ring so she can tag in to clipper. So now I'm inspired and I want to do that for everything, and I don't have to commit to some surgery to put it in my hand.
That's amazing.
Genius.
Yeah, that could be a great business.
Right?
Yeah.
So one step above that.
Like, wearable technologies was supposed to be the future, 5 years ago? And I think as far as we got was a smartwatch.
Disney was doing some stuff at the parks. I want to say Disney World had those bands that were really interesting.
That's
and
right.
I was starting to see them at some concerts. We probably won't see them for a while, but being able to badge in for credits for food and lines and stuff like that.
We did that. And I've got 3 kids, so obviously Disney is a big favorite. giving kids the power to purchase things is also dangerous.
Yes.
Genius by Disney.
It's genius by Disney.
It's like, let's give you parents credit cards.
But I do feel like Disney's like really, really ahead of the game in terms of kind of like interacting technology. Like I love the shows at the end, like where everyone crowds around and they all have like the light up ears and they're all in time with the music and they're kind of part of the show. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's always really cool to see like when the audience kind of becomes part of the show without any sort of effort other than the technology around them. It's so cool.
Amazing.
So you mentioned that we always talk about theme parks on this show, no matter what, it always comes up. So what part of the Disney franchise are they Frozen kids? Are they Cars kids? Is it an assortment? Where are they going to at the world?
So it's definitely an assortment. So I've got a 13-year-old. It's kind of like on the boundaries of like liking Disney stuff, but when we go, absolutely loves it and runs around like a crazy person. Loves the kind of the big rides. I've then got like a 11-year-old that is still into Frozen and loves Lilo and Stitch. Stitch is one of her favorite characters, and we actually name all of our pets after Disney characters as well. So we've got 2 dogs named Stitch and Woody, and we've got a cat called Buzz, and we've got another cat. We actually kind of tried to rename him Mike Wazowski, but it didn't really work because he was a rescue. So he still liked his original name. We did try though. And then we've also got a tortoise called Crush. So we definitely went with a Disney theme. But then my son loves.
Love it.
And my son loves Cars as well.
Cars.
But yes, but we just love Disney. It's a great wholesome experience, it feels like, but definitely something that you have to save lots and lots of pennies for before you descend.
My first job was the Disney store, and I learned a lot about retail discounts and how you shouldn't spend all your money back into the company that you're working for. It was very difficult not to buy so many plushies.
So, interestingly enough, the first ever job that I ever had was at a theme park in the UK called the American Adventure. So it was literally
American Adventure.
Yeah.
Tell us, what is we need to know about this. We need to know, because I've been to Americamura, which is Americatown in Japan, which was fascinating to see. Tell us who's walking around, who are the characters.
So it was broken into different sections. So like the main section that you walk into was the Wild West type of thing, and they'd kind of like do stunt shows and things like that. They also had a space area, which is kind of like NASA focused. And then and that was pretty much it, to be honest. It was a very small park, nothing compared to kind of like Disney or anything like that. It was literally next to the town that I lived in, which is like 10,000 people. It's a place called Ilkeston in Derbyshire, which is like the center of England. So it's really, really small, but I just always, I think it's hilarious that I kind of worked there. That's the first job that I had. And then I ended up living in America. And obviously the experience that I had at the American Adventure was nothing like real life America. So
what?
Well,
no.
This is all meant to be. My dad was born in Derbyshire. Brandon, we gotta go. We gotta go to this theme park.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're there.
That's
we'll talk
amazing.
to the producers. We'll expense it. We'll do a live 8-bit show from the American Adventure.
We'll ask Paul Bunyan and Uncle Sam the 8 questions. It'll be great.
Can my kids come too?
Yeah.
Bring my kids. Yeah, cool.
Guests on the show.
Well, our next question is technically, what other profession would you want to attempt? But it sounds like you've had the best job, which is working at, what was it called? America Land?
The American Adventure.
Yes. American Adventure. Marking that for later.
What I would like to do. So I started my career at the American Adventure. I feel like I've done so many different things. So I started in retail, and then I sold cars for a brief period of time.
Okay.
Then I sold wooden flooring for another period of time. Then I worked in a call center. And I literally didn't start the role that like kind of even looking at software development until I was like 29, 30. So I feel like I've dabbled with a lot of different things. So I would want to go as far away from kind of anything that I've ever done in the past. So I think I'd love to do something like a marine biologist, something that I can get away from, kind of get away from everything, be out there in the middle of the ocean, off the grid, and just kind of be one with nature. I think that would be great.
So obviously we have a upcoming fan of the live action Little Mermaid here. Noted.
Most definitely.
Well, that's so interesting that you discovered software later in life. I'm the same way. I kind of had a wiggle noodle path here as well. And it sounds like we've both done call centers. I've never been a car salesman, though. I hear that's very, very hard.
It is. I didn't sell any, just so you know.
I didn't sell any ads at Yelp either. So yeah, well, and I bet, like, do you find that there's a lot of ways that those previous careers like have come into play in software engineering? Because I know for myself, there's been some weird epiphanies where selling a High School Musical DVD at the Disney store has had a little bit of crossover with being a dev advocate. But where have you found sort of those parallels or those crossovers?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that the kind of customer service, learning how to interact with people and being empathetic has been an amazing skill that I've tried to hold on to. Being able to really talk and listen to somebody. So if you're kind of talking to a key stakeholder when you're working on a project, really being able to understand how to empathize with their position, how to ask them questions, how to really dig into what they're trying to ask for, helps you and sets you up for success when you're building a product, as opposed to just kind of listening and then building what you think they said. I think definitely those skills help in that situation, and definitely in the role that I'm in right now. And we kind of consider ourselves consultants to a certain extent. I think having that ability to have an in-depth conversation and I like to say really empathize with somebody, I think is a great skill to have, and something that I think those soft skills are something that aren't required, but I think are a great kind of added bonus to a developer. So yes, go get a job in a call center before while you're learning to code. I think that's great start.
Yeah, I having worked in a call center briefly can confirm you get quite a bit of customer empathy and call center people empathy when you work in a role like that.
Definitely. And it was funny that I actually, when I was working in a call center, that was where I refound my kind of passion for coding. One of the things that I was kind of seeing is that there was a bank of people that were all responsible for routing all the calls or to all the different call center people. And every day they'd have to write a report on kind of how many calls were taken, how many were dropped, and kind of all of those sorts of things. And they were doing it manually. They were like logging into this mainframe system. They were copying these things out, and it was like taking hours and hours. I was like, there's got to be a better way to do that. So I like wrote some VBA in Excel that like logged onto this AS400 system, pulled all this data down, populated it, and I was like, this is really powerful. This gives you the power to do anything. And I think that was kind of where I started thinking, okay, what can I do now? So I learned VB.NET after that. So
what can't Excel do?
Exactly, it can do everything.
You can text Nelly on it, and you can get data from the mainframe.
And what a cool like opportunity to also like present that and be like, yo, I fixed this. It's faster now. Like here.
Yeah. Hey, you now have time to either go get coffee or do other parts of your job. It's up to you.
And
I think everyone went for the coffee. Yeah.
And what profession would you not want to attempt? Because it sounds like you've done a lot of different things. Which one are you kind of like, no thanks?
Okay, so the ones that I know of, car sales, don't want to do that again because, like you said, that was really hard. But I think I think I would not want to be a teacher. because I think the job that they do is so hard. I know from having 3 kids that I struggle to stay on top. So having kind of 30 kids and also kind of guiding them and teaching them and making sure that they're kind of they're consuming all of the information that they're supposed to. I think the job that they do is amazing, and I know I would be an absolute failure doing it. So I think that's the one that I really wouldn't want to jump into.
Yeah. And
huge shout out to teachers.
Huge shout out to teachers. And I couldn't believe this the other day. I guess my naivete of not having children myself, but yesterday you mentioned you had your 3 different children are in 3 different grades, which means multiple teachers, which I didn't even think with middle school, like multiple teachers for multiple students. Like that is a lot of work.
yeah it's and kind of like they even having kind of all different breaks, so all the kids are kind of wanting to, oh hey, can I have a sandwich now, and then the other one's still working, and the fact that they are all kind of taking different classes at different times. We've got our middle child Evie is she's just moved up to middle school, so kind of starting a new school but doing it remotely is something that's completely new, and moving from having one teacher to many teachers that all teach different subjects. I think it's the situation right now is very hard on parents, kids, and teachers. But the fact that kind of I feel like the teachers are holding all of that together, I think it's a testament to them, and amazing.
Oh no! Oh, there we go. We're back. I got kicked out. I also want to give a shout out to any parents who are home with students who are taking band. I can only imagine what that must be like.
Daily band practice.
Yes.
We are yet to have the actual practices starting. So yes, that's something that's going to be starting very soon. So I'm looking forward to that, is what I'm going to say.
I think one of the funniest, this is pre-COVID parent memes I've ever seen was, get this for someone you really don't like. And it was the Frozen learn how to play recorder book. So it's just just like very stocky.
Oh, that's awesome. But you can't have bad Frozen music.
That's true. All music from Frozen. Although it is on my to-do list this weekend to watch Frozen 2. I'm very behind. So I need to find out. I do know that there's some sort of wind spirit, but I don't know anything else.
I like Frozen 1 a lot better.
Oh, hot take on Frozen here on 8-bit. Okay. Well, I'll report back next week.
I'll pull my daughter in to have that conversation with you. I think she'll be very in the opposite direction.
Oh no.
We can do a duet of Into the Unknown together. It'll be great. We'll have her back as a guest. Well, speaking of Frozen, I'm going to guess you're not going to pick the power of snow on demand, but what technology do you think, do you wish existed from film or television?
I think I would love the transporter from Star Trek. Because I love traveling, but I hate traveling. So if I could transport myself to a place, I think I would definitely do that. The only thing that worries me is this whole discussion around is the transporter in Star Trek killing the first copy, the first person instantly, making a copy and then reassembling that copy on the other side. That kind of worries me, but I think I'd still give it a go.
See, similarly, for me, my concern, did y'all ever see the original Willy Wonka movie with Gene Wilder?
Yeah.
So, when they're transporting Mike TV, like from big to small, I'd be concerned that the little bleep loop thing, that something would happen to me between there. Which I guess is kind of the same thing. Are you the same person? Or are you rearranged bleep loop?
Exactly. But I think it would still be worth the kind of the chance of that happening. I think the benefit outweighs the risk.
Sure.
Yeah. I just don't want to go first. Like, let some other people try it out. Maybe wait a year, and then it's like, okay, I trust.
Yeah, this. Like on Upload, where that first from Creed from The Office does it first, and it's like, well, maybe not.
Well, as soon as we get the option, you can sign me up to go first. I don't mind. I'll give it a go.
Have either of you seen Oh, I'm going to forget the movie, but I'm going to Google it right now. It's a Matt Damon movie where they shrink people down really, really small, downsize.
Yes, downsize, yeah.
Yeah. So I've thought about that a lot. I think mainly because I am very obsessed with Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. But the idea of like shrinking things down technology, I'm like, oh, that would be an interesting way like to live this very luxurious life. If you haven't seen the film before, no spoilers, but they shrink people down so they can live these very dollhouse luxurious lives. And I'm like, I would want to do this, but I wouldn't want to be the first person to do this.
Yeah, it's a cool idea because I was just gonna say you can save up just a little bit of money. So maybe I forget how much Matt goes into it with, or Matt Damon's character, but $100,000, $200,000, and you could just retire in this tiny world because tiny things are cheaper and don't cost as much. So why not?
Also, I just want to ride in someone's pocket. It sounds fun.
Could we not go the opposite way? Like, can we not get a Big Mac and make it huge so we can like eat it for like weeks and weeks? That would be awesome.
And we just solved world hunger.
Exactly. I've been tagged about 3 times over the last 48 hours. There's a giant 12-foot skeleton being sold at Home Depot right now. So run, don't walk to get your giant. Okay, we have 5 minutes, and I thought up our bonus question while we were doing this. So, Alex, if you could have any app, like there's nothing in your way, magic, elements, anything like that, technology that doesn't exist yet, what would this phone app do? What's something that you would automate in your life or change or update with phone app on, let's say on the iPhone and Android? Let's say Android too.
With Xamarin.
So we're literally saying no, nothing. Like it can do anything.
Like we're talking like Harry Potter world, anything.
Ooh.
Okay, I would get it to feed and clean up after my pets for me.
Okay.
I think if that would get me like an extra like 25 to 30 minutes in bed every morning, that would make a huge difference to my life. I think that would be great.
Well, if you tuned into one of our previous episodes, if you're looking to automate kitty litter, we've got an episode to show you.
Nice.
There's a smart litter box, and it blew our minds.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I could do that.
Energy that goes into taking care of a pet.
It's just the waking up, to be fair. If I didn't have to wake up and I could sleep for an extra 20 minutes, that would be all I would need, and I would be fresher throughout the day, I'm sure. Less reliant on caffeine.
What about you, Brandon? Would you use that with Kirby?
Well, we're spoiled. He just kind of hangs out until we get out of bed. Most days he's in the bed with us, but yeah, he never wakes us up. And he's a big dog, so I don't know if that means he can hold it longer. But yeah, there's been days, not that I've been in bed until 11 or 12, but there's some days where I jump on an early meeting at 6 a.m. and that kind of snowballs into something where I just can't step away to take him out. And yeah, he's totally fine waiting all morning. And so, yeah, we're a little spoiled. Although if that same app could like scoop his poop and dispose of it, I'm in.
Yeah, we're investing.
Yeah, definitely. Where do I send my money?
Yeah. Ooh, someone just commented in the chat, reminded me of the bugs in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids from our previous answer. And I think maybe I need to take my answer back.
There's giant bugs. There's
a cool Xbox game that just came out called Grounded that allows you to like play like you're in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. So if you want to know what it's like, you should go play that.
Cool.
Making a note of this. Sounds terrifying, but I'm into it. All right. Well, we got through all the questions in perfect timing. Alex, where can the people find you on the internet?
So you can definitely find me at Alex Blount on Twitter, and definitely if anybody is interested in talking to me about any of the cool projects they're building with Xamarin and Azure, please do reach out to me. I would love to hear from you and see if there's any conversations that we can have.
Yeah, and if anybody's working on pet apps that can help us, reach out.
And
Yes,
I know you had
definitely.
some goodies you wanted to share with folks, like open source code and podcasts where folks can check out.
Yes. Definitely. Thank you for reminding me. So yes, you can check out my team's GitHub repo, which is just Zamcat. And there's a bunch of kind of reference architectures and good examples of projects in there. So definitely go check that out. We've also got a really, really cool podcast coming up that's part of the Xamarin podcast, which is going to be some interviews with some of the customers that we work with. There's some really, really interesting customers coming up there. Definitely make sure you're subscribed to the Xamarin podcast to listen to that. And also go and check out the Xamarin customer showcase. We tend to kind of try and put the customers that we work with in there as well. And there's some really great stories that you can go and read about successful projects with Xamarin and Azure. So definitely check those out.
Rapid fire, but I think we got them all on the screen at one time.
Yes, I was very
Put them
impressed.
in the chat for everybody to click on.
Yeah, and you can listen to that podcast on Overcast and skip through all of. I'm sure there's just so many dramatic pauses when discussing Xamarin. So great. Well, thanks for joining us, Alex, and we'll see you all soon. Don't forget to check out Ignite. Ignite is happening. Sign up for all your sessions. Check it out online. We'll link it in the show notes, and we'll see you next time.